Okay. All right. So for the purposes of my assessment with dietitian and microbiologist Dr. Sue Reed, I am recording this just to give everybody an idea of why it's going to be so helpful for Sue to know what's in my gut and what processes I went through to get to this stage, and how helpful it is for future assessments, or what we need to do for interventions, and how this will be so beneficial for so many of our clients.
Yep.
Sue, I'm going to hand it over to you just to explain what we've done.
Okay. So, Kate, you had your number 2s tested.
Yes,
And as you know, I love these reports. I get a little bit obsessed about them. And what it does is it gives me a window into your health. So the reason that is because the majority of bacteria that live in your body live in your gut. And we now know that the gut is connected to everything else in our body. So it can affect the way we think, the way we feel, what you eat. Everything you put in your mouth matters, as to me as a dietitian. So, and everything that you eat matters to your gut as well. And if you have gut issues, or if you have a health issue that you can't understand, or you want help with, then this is one of the best ways to have a look inside and see what's going on, and see who is in there, or better still, who isn't in your gut.
Okay.
So the reason you do this is to look at diversity. And by diversity, we mean if you've got a high diversity, let me say it that way, Kate, if you've got a high diversity in your gut of bacteria, that means your health is great. It should be, fantastic.
Yep.
When issues start to happen, your diversity can be decreased. And your diversity can be decreased by a number of things, apart from illnesses like cancer. If you do excessive dieting, that can reduce your diversity. If you don't sleep well, if you stress, anything like that can upset your gut. So when we have a close look like we have at yours, we can see if you've got good diversity or not, if it's sitting on the fence, and then we can tell what sort of foods we can include in your diet to help you get a higher diversity. Because having a high diversity in your gut means you've got a lot of different species of bacteria, but you've also got a lot of them. So they're a high abundance, and that's what we want. And the reason we want that is because all those little guys in your gut have a job to do. So whether it be they break down certain sugars or certain fibres to produce other products that will be circulated around your body to improve your health, or something else. They do such a large amount of work down there, and that's why you need a lot of them. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So after I got the generalized report back from Microba, and I without understanding what the report meant, but just got a fairly general idea. So my was it my diversity that sat outside the average norm?
Yeah. Look, you've got a low diversity, and that's okay, because we can do things to fix it. But yours was quite interesting, because I've seen there's bugs in here that have said to me, "Where is Kate been?" So
okay.
I don't know. So you had, first of all, I'll talk about a couple of others just briefly.
Yep.
So you had a high population of bugs called Prevotella, and that's a good thing because some people don't have any. So those bugs are great, but you've got a lot of them. So the thing I loved about your report the most is that you had some bugs that weren't in there that I know we can build up quite easily with certain, prebiotic foods. So that's something that we're going to focus on in the big picture.
Okay.
But one of your bugs, and his name, I'm calling it a him because I find him very hard to pronounce. It's Mitsukella Gialladini, I think. That's how.
Okay. That
And
sounds fancy.
but this is really interesting that you had this bug because usually it's found. I mean, it's found in human gut as well.
Yep.
But it's found in a lot of cattle or rumen animals. And I thought you must have worked with cattle or been brought up on a farm or something. You have?
Yes. So I was brought up in a place called Farnborough, which is central Queensland on the coast, where I had horses and we were surrounded by cows.
Yeah.
And I'd go cattle mustering.
Yeah.
But there was also an occasion where when I was 10, I drank water from a stream without knowing that upstream there was cows pooing. And I got violently ill.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my mum can recall that was in 1983. So I was 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, but I have worked on cattle properties before.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time. So definitely. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is amazing. And that just goes to show that your environment changes your diversity and changes who's in there. That's why we're all so different as well.
That's incredible. So those bugs, would they stay there?
Oh, they can if they have a niche and they're doing a job for you. Like it's not to say that they're not meant to be there. You've probably got other bugs that are in there that just weren't detected, but this one was quite high. So, and that's because of where you've worked and where you lived as a child.
Okay.
So,
can it come from eating raw meat?
I wouldn't. Have you eaten raw meat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spent 12 months living in Japan and have eaten raw beef.
Oh, look, it could. I mean, it's not a pathogen. It's not a parasite or anything. It's not a bad thing. But you know, one extraordinary thing about this bug is in the research, he has been shown to fight off salmonella. So, yeah, that actually would protect you from food poisoning as such. Maybe, you know, this is just something they're looking at. So,
wow.
I thought that was quite extraordinary too. So it can inhibit the growth of a parasite, which is amazing. So yeah, you could have got him from eating, you know, raw meat, definitely. Now there's another bug in here which is a little bit high in your gut, and it's quite common in people with a Western diet. Yeah. And I'm calling her she because I like her name. It's Bifida wadsworthia.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so she's a little bit high. She's not, you know, a concern, but this says to me that I would like you to cut down your saturated fat a bit and have more inulin in your life, because that's the only way to reduce her to a reasonable level.
Okay, and does she have an adverse effect on, you know, aspects of my health?
No, if she was higher and if you were overweight, then I would say, yes, we seriously need to do something about her. But no, not at this point. If people that are obese and have metabolic syndrome or some sort of chronic disease have a lot of Bifida generally because they have poor diets.
Okay.
But you don't have a slightly high amount of her because you have an extremely bad diet. It's just that you're probably not getting enough inulin, and you're probably having a bit too much saturated fat in your diet. But that's completely controllable, and we can reduce that.
Excellent.
Now look, there's another one of my favourites in here that not only you are low on, but a lot of people are low on this bug, and she's called Amensia mucinothyla. And she is one of what I call the housekeeping bacteria in your gut, because what she does is she breaks down and regenerates that mucus lining in your intestine.
Okay.
So she keeps that healthy, and other bugs do this as well. but she's the one we know most about. And we can increase her number. We don't want to have her too high, but we would like to increase her number a little bit by having more what we call fructo-oligosaccharides, like things like asparagus, beetroot, blueberries have FOSSs, they're called. Fructo-oligosaccharides are called FOSSs. And something called PACs, which are found in dark chocolate, for instance. But there's more on that list, which I will give you later.
Okay.
So it'd be nice just to get her a little bit higher. And there's another... Sorry.
Just a quick question. Is she affected by if I've been on antibiotics?
Oh, look, they all can be affected by being on antibiotics. Have you had some recently?
Probably back in January would be the more recent one. Yep.
Rightio. Yeah, it's, you know, the whole community gets affected by antibiotics unless you maintain a diet high in prebiotics. So it depends. And again, if your gut is has a high diversity, it's more resilient to things like antibiotics. So it might get, like if you have a high gut diversity and you take antibiotics, then a few might get wiped out, but you'll bounce back really quick. But if you had a low diversity before you took the antibiotics, then that's going to take you longer to come back because you didn't have a diverse gut in the first place. And that's something we look at with our clients as well, as you know. Having cancer treatment, etc., can really knock your gut about. So afterwards, it's the best thing you can do is just build it up. Or before you have the treatment, it's best to try and get that gut diversity as high as possible before, so that you can bounce back quicker.
Okay.
And it's all about resilience, and having the more abundant and higher levels of species in your gut is much, much better.
Okay.
So there's another bug which people probably hear about all the time, and it's bifidobacteria. Look, not many clients have many of these in their gut, but they are so good for us. And the reason we don't have many is because when we're first born, we have heaps of bifidobacterium in our gut, because it deals with a lot of things like breaking down milk, lactose, etc., and things you need as a child. But as we get older, we don't need things like, we tend to steer clear of milk a bit, and we tend to do other things in our life. So this bug comes down a little bit.
Okay.
So most people don't have a lot of him in there. But the best thing you can do is to increase this bug, because he is really good, is to have more plant-based foods in your diet, and that's something that we'll discuss too, and get more whole grains in your diet, because these little guys will increase something called butyrate, and butyrate is one of those amazing products produced by your gut bugs that actually helps look after the cells in your colon and keeps your bowels really healthy.
Okay.
So that's, so I didn't actually go through what bacteria do, but let me just say briefly, when you eat prebiotic foods or fibres, now prebiotic fibres are food for your gut bugs. So when you eat those types of foods, and we'll talk about some of them later, when you eat those, they make it all the way down to your large intestine without being digested. And when they get down there to your large intestine, all those beautiful bacteria in your gut start fermenting these foods, and they produce heaps of different products, like I said before, that gets circulated through your body. But one of those products that it produces is butyrate. And butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid. And it's one of the most important ones. And it's one of the ones that we know most about too, because we know that it's looking after our gut cells, and it keeps our tight junctions healthy in our intestine to avoid leaky gut. So it just keeps our entire gut healthy, and we want to keep producing butyrate, of course. So we've got to build up some of those bifidobacterium. There's other little guys that produce butyrate as well, but this one has a lot of different members, I suppose you could say, and he's really good at producing butyrate, so we can focus on that as well.
Okay.
So that's sort of it in a nutshell from just looking at an overview of yours, Kate.
Yep.
And there is more to it, of course, yeah, we've really got to focus on getting more plant-based foods into your diet and getting some more prebiotics into your diet, and that's what we're going to do to get you higher diversity.
Okay. And so when we've put in a program in place just to improve that, then would you recommend for me to go and do another sample so then we can compare that report and see what's grown and what's proliferated?
Yeah. Yeah, look, you can, yeah, because we just make, I'm not going to turn your diet upside down. What we're going to do is just over time implement small changes that you can do so they're sustainable. And these changes will, I'd give it 3 months. Some people take 6 months. Okay. But as long as it becomes a good habit in your diet and a good habit in your world to increase, to eat different foods and have a variety of plant-based foods in your diet, then in 3 months' time, you should see quite a difference.
Okay. And so if someone has an assessment with you but doesn't do the poo sampling, can you identify what they could be lacking in based on your questioning during the assessment?
Yes. Yeah, I can. I have a good idea of where their diversity sits based on what they eat and what they've done throughout their life.
Yep, okay.
Whether or not they've had, different medications that they've had, because we now know that there's a lot of different medications that really affect the gut and reduce certain species. So you can do that, but it's an educated guess based on what I know from the research.
And just to let everybody know, you and Dr. Cecilia Kirtig are developing a specific masterclass on gut health and cancer, which I've seen module 1, and it is fantastic. I'm very excited for the launch of that. And I think everyone can learn so much about the gut and the gut environment and all the terminology, and I was left wanting more to know about, so I'm looking forward to getting that out to everybody.
Excellent. Yeah, we loved making it, and I love to talk about poo and gut stuff.
Yes. I now know why you love it. It's very exciting. I got into the report, I'm going, oh, this looks really interesting. I don't know what it means, but I can't wait, to have that discussion with you. So we will come do another recording for everybody after, I've changed or added stuff to my diet, and then do another poo assessment to get another report to see any improvements and changes, and then we can report on that as well. So thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.